Listen carefully because what I'm about to tell you could completely change how you see yourself in every interaction you have with women. Right now, you might think you need to chase women, pursue them, prove your worth, and convince them to give you a chance. But what if I told you that you're actually the type of man that women want to chase? What if you possess qualities that make women think about you constantly and actively pursue your attention? Here's something most guys never understand. The men that women actually chase are rarely the ones doing the chasing. They're the ones who inspire pursuit rather than demanding it. They create desire rather than expressing desperation. They make women feel like they need to win them over, rather than feeling like they need to win women over. Let me paint you a picture of what I'm talking about. You know that guy who seems to effortlessly attract women without even trying? The one who has women texting him first, planning dates for him, and generally working to keep his attention? The guy who never seems desperate or needy, yet somehow always has options. That guy who women describe as the one who got away? Or the one I should have fought harder for? That guy is you. You just don't realize it yet. The brutal truth is that women lose respect for men who chase them too eagerly. But they become obsessed with men who seem like a challenge worth pursuing. When a woman encounters a man who doesn't need her validation, who has his own life and standards, who treats her interest as nice but not necessary, that's when her competitive instincts kick in. You see, women are wired to value what they have to work for. When something comes too easily, it loses its appeal. But when they encounter a man who seems genuinely content with his life, who has options, who won't compromise his standards just to be with someone, that triggers something primal in their psychology that makes them want to chase. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever noticed that the women you're most attracted to are often the ones who seem slightly out of reach? The ones who have their own lives, their own standards, their own sense of self-worth? It's the same principle working in reverse. Women are most attracted to men who seem like they don't need them, who have their own thing going on, who would be fine with or without their attention. The most attractive men don't chase women. They attract women who want to chase them. They create the kind of magnetic presence that makes women think, I need to figure out how to get this guy's attention. I need to be the one he chooses. But here's what separates you from guys who try to fake this energy. Your chase-worthy qualities are authentic. You're not pretending to be busy or valuable. You actually are. You're not playing hard to get. You genuinely have standards and options. You're not performing confidence. You actually possess it. Today, I'm going to reveal 5 clear signs that you're not the guy who needs to do the chasing. You're the guy that women want to chase. These aren't superficial indicators or temporary situations. These are fundamental qualities that make you the prize that women compete for rather than the competitor trying to win a prize. Pay attention, because if even 3 of these resonate with you, you need to completely shift your approach to dating and start operating from the reality that you're the one being pursued, not the one doing the pursuing. Sign 1. Women work to keep your attention, rather than you working for theirs. The first and most obvious sign that you're chase-worthy is that women consistently put effort into maintaining your attention and interest. Instead of you constantly trying to impress them or keep their focus, they're the ones initiating conversations, suggesting plans, and working to stay relevant in your life. You'll notice this in how they communicate with you. They're the ones sending the first text of the day. They're the ones asking how your day went, sharing interesting articles they think you'd like, or bringing up inside jokes to keep conversations going. They remember details about your life and follow up on things you've mentioned, not because you asked them to, but because they want to stay connected to you. Let me give you some specific examples of how this plays out. A woman might text you about something that reminded her of you. A song, a news article, a funny meme. She might ask for your advice on decisions she's perfectly capable of making herself. She might suggest activities or events she thinks you'd enjoy, essentially planning your time together because she wants to ensure she gets to spend time with you. This happens because you've positioned yourself as someone whose attention has value. You're not constantly available, you're not always the one reaching out first, and you don't seem desperate for their validation. This scarcity of your attention makes it more valuable to them, which motivates them to work to obtain and maintain it. But here's the key difference between you and men who are being chased. You're not playing games or being manipulative. You genuinely have a full life, real interests, and authentic self-worth that makes your attention naturally valuable. Women can sense the difference between strategic unavailability and genuine contentment with your own life. You might notice that women in your life often compliment you, ask for your opinions, or seek your approval on decisions. They're not just making conversation. They're working to maintain their position in your awareness because they recognize that your attention and approval aren't guaranteed. Another indicator is how they respond when you do give them attention. When you text back, they light up. When you suggest plans, they eagerly agree. When you show interest in something they're doing, they become animated and engaged because they value your focus so much. The psychology here is that when women have to invest effort to keep someone's interest, they become more invested in that person. The work they put in creates emotional attachment and makes your attention feel earned rather than given freely. This investment creates a psychological bond that makes them want to invest even more. You'll also notice that they work to stay updated on your life, your interests, and your schedule. They pay attention to your social media, remember your commitments, and generally stay informed about what's happening with you because they want to remain relevant and find new ways to connect. Sign 2. She tries to impress you more than you try to impress her. When you're the type of man women want to chase, you'll notice a clear reversal of the typical dating dynamic. Instead of you constantly trying to prove your worth to her, she's the one working to prove her worth to you. She mentions her accomplishments, talks about her good qualities, and generally presents herself in the best possible light when she's around you. This might show up as her casually mentioning her job success, her fitness routine, her cooking skills, or her other attractive qualities. She's not bragging. She's marketing herself to you because she wants you to see her as worthy of your interest and attention. Let me break down exactly how this manifests in real interactions. She might tell you about the promotion she just got, the marathon she's training for, or the volunteer work she does, not because you asked, but because she wants you to see her as accomplished and impressive. She might cook for you or showcase talents she has because she wants to demonstrate her value as a potential partner. You'll also notice that she puts extra effort into her appearance when she knows she'll see you. She dresses better, does her hair and makeup more carefully, and generally presents the most attractive version of herself. This isn't vanity. It's her recognizing that you have standards and wanting to meet them. The psychology behind this is that people naturally work harder to obtain things they perceive as valuable and somewhat difficult to get. When you don't seem desperate for her approval, when you maintain your standards and don't lower them just because she's attractive, she starts working to meet your standards instead of expecting you to abandon yours. But here's what makes this a sign of your chase-worthy status. This effort feels natural and sustainable rather than forced or exhausting. She's not desperately trying to be someone she's not. She's trying to be the best version of who she already is because she wants to be worthy of your attention. You might notice that she asks about your preferences, remembers your likes and dislikes, and adjusts her behavior to align with what she thinks you find attractive. She's essentially auditioning for the role of someone important in your life, rather than you auditioning for hers. Another key indicator is how she responds to your feedback or preferences. If you mention liking something, she might suddenly develop an interest in it. If you express an opinion, she pays attention and often aligns herself with your perspective because she values your judgment and wants to be compatible with you. This dynamic also shows up in how she talks about herself around you versus around others. With you, she emphasizes her positive qualities and accomplishments. With others, she might be more modest or self-deprecating. She's specifically trying to impress you because she recognizes you as someone worth impressing. Sign 3. She initiates physical escalation and emotional intimacy. One of the clearest signs that a woman wants to chase you is that she becomes the one pushing for deeper connection, both physically and emotionally. Instead of you trying to escalate touch or create intimate moments, she's the one finding excuses for physical contact and creating opportunities for emotional bonding. You might notice that she's the one who initiates hugs that last a little longer than necessary, finds reasons to touch your arm when she's talking, or positions herself close to you in group settings. She's testing the waters and showing interest through physical touch because she wants to gauge and encourage your interest in return. Let me give you specific examples of how this physical escalation looks. She might sit closer to you than necessary when you're watching a movie. She might find excuses to fix your collar or brush something off your shirt. She might initiate playful physical contact, like high fives that turn into hand-holding, or she might be the one who suggests activities that involve physical proximity, like dancing or walking together. Emotionally, she's the one sharing personal stories, asking deeper questions about your life and thoughts, and creating the kind of intimate conversations that build connection. She's not waiting for you to dig into her emotional world. She's opening it up and inviting you in because she wants to create a bond that will make you more interested in her. The psychology here is that when women are interested in someone they perceive as high value, they take more initiative in creating connection because they don't want to risk losing the opportunity. They're willing to be slightly more vulnerable or forward than usual because they recognize you as worth the risk. This is particularly telling because women typically prefer men to lead in physical and emotional escalation. When she's taking the initiative, it's because she's afraid that if she waits for you to make all the moves, she might miss her chance with someone she sees as particularly desirable. You'll notice that she remembers personal details you've shared and follows up on them later. She asks about your goals, your family, your fears, and your dreams, because she wants to understand you on a deeper level and create the kind of emotional intimacy that bonds people together. Another indicator is how she responds when you do share something personal with her. She lights up, asks follow-up questions, and often reciprocates with something equally personal because she wants to match your level of vulnerability and create deeper connection. She might also be the one who suggests more intimate settings for your interactions. Quieter restaurants, longer walks, or activities where you can talk without distractions. She's creating opportunities for deeper connection because she wants to move beyond surface-level interaction. Sign 4. She becomes competitive when other women show interest. When you're the type of man women want to chase, you'll notice that women become territorial and competitive when other women show interest in you. Instead of being indifferent to other female attention you receive, she becomes more attentive, more affectionate, and more invested in securing your focus. This might manifest as her being more flirtatious when other women are around, making subtle comments about other women who show interest in you, or finding ways to position herself as the obvious choice when you have multiple options. She's not being possessive in an unhealthy way. She's competing because she recognizes you as worth competing for. Let me paint you a detailed picture of how this competition looks in practice. When another woman compliments you or shows obvious interest, she might immediately jump into the conversation to assert her presence. She might become more physically affectionate with you in front of other women, or she might find ways to showcase her connection with you by referencing inside jokes or shared experiences. You might notice that she pays attention to how you interact with other women and adjusts her own behavior accordingly. If she sees you responding positively to humor, she becomes funnier. If she notices you appreciating intelligence, she showcases her intellectual side more. She's studying what attracts you and making sure she's providing it better than anyone else. The psychology behind this is that competition increases perceived value. When women see that other women are interested in you, it validates their own interest and makes them work harder to secure your attention. They're essentially thinking, if other women want him, he must be worth having. But here's what makes this a sign of your chaseworthy status. The competition feels natural rather than dramatic or unhealthy. She's not creating conflict with other women. She's simply stepping up her own game to ensure she stands out among your options. You'll also notice that she becomes more communicative and available when she senses competition. She responds to texts faster, makes more effort to spend time with you, and generally increases her investment in maintaining your interest because she doesn't want to lose you to someone else. Another indicator is how she talks about other women who show interest in you. She might point out their flaws or limitations, not in a mean-spirited way, but as a way of positioning herself as the better choice. She's essentially making the case for why you should choose her over your other options. This competitive behavior also shows up in how she presents herself when she knows other women will be around. She'll dress better, be more charming, and generally bring her A game because she wants to ensure she's the most attractive option in the room. Sign 5. She invests in your happiness and success. The ultimate sign that you're the guy she wants to chase is that she actively invests in your happiness and success without you asking her to. She genuinely cares about your well-being, supports your goals, and finds ways to add value to your life because she wants to become indispensable to you. This might show up as her remembering important events in your life and checking in about them, offering to help with projects or challenges you're facing, or simply being a positive, supportive presence when you're dealing with stress or difficulties. She's not just taking from the relationship, she's actively contributing to it. Let me give you concrete examples of how this investment manifests. If you mention a big presentation at work, she'll check in to see how it went. If you're stressed about a deadline, she might offer to help or bring you food to make your life easier. If you have a goal you're working toward, she'll ask about your progress and celebrate your achievements. You'll notice that she pays attention to your goals and dreams and finds ways to support them. If you mention wanting to learn something new, she might send you relevant articles or resources. If you're working toward a professional goal, she might offer connections or encouragement. She's investing in your success because she wants to be part of it. The psychology here is that when women see someone as long-term potential, rather than just a casual interest, they start thinking about how they can contribute to that person's life in meaningful ways. They want to prove their value not just as someone attractive, but as someone useful and supportive. This investment goes beyond just romantic interest. She genuinely wants you to be happy and successful, even in areas that don't directly involve her. This shows that she's thinking about you as a complete person, rather than just focusing on what you can do for her. You might notice that she remembers your preferences and goes out of her way to accommodate them. She suggests restaurants you'd like, plans activities that match your interests, or simply creates environments where you feel comfortable and appreciated. Another indicator is how she responds when you achieve something, or when something good happens to you. She's genuinely excited for your success and wants to celebrate with you. She's not jealous or competitive about your achievements. She's proud and supportive because your happiness makes her happy. She might also offer practical support in ways that make your life easier. If you're moving, she offers to help. If you're sick, she brings you soup. If you're overwhelmed, she finds ways to lighten your load. She's not doing this out of obligation. She's doing it because she wants to be someone who adds value to your life. The most telling aspect of this sign is that her investment feels natural and sustainable rather than desperate or overwhelming. She's not sacrificing her own well-being to support you. She's finding ways to contribute that align with her own strengths and interests. The psychology behind being chaseworthy. Understanding why you inspire pursuit rather than needing to pursue requires recognizing what makes someone genuinely attractive in the dating market. Chaseworthy men typically possess a combination of self-sufficiency, standards, and genuine contentment that makes them appear valuable and somewhat scarce. The key is that your attractiveness doesn't come from trying to be attractive. It comes from being genuinely satisfied with your life and having real standards for who you allow into it. Women can sense when someone is complete and content on their own, and this independence is incredibly attractive. Let me break down the psychological mechanisms that make certain men irresistible to chase. First, there's the principle of scarcity. When something is rare or difficult to obtain, it automatically becomes more valuable. Second, there's the challenge factor. Human beings are wired to value things they have to work for. Third, there's social proof. When other women compete for your attention, it validates your value. Chaseworthy men also understand their own value without being arrogant about it. They know what they bring to relationships, and they're not willing to settle for situations that don't meet their standards. This selective approach makes their attention more valuable because it's not given out freely. The difference between being chaseworthy and playing games. It's crucial to understand that being genuinely chaseworthy is completely different from playing hard to get or using manipulation tactics. The difference lies in authenticity versus performance. When you're genuinely chaseworthy, your behavior comes from authentic self-worth and contentment. You're not available all the time because you actually have a full life. You have standards because you genuinely know your worth. You don't chase because you don't feel desperate or needy. Women can usually tell the difference between genuine confidence and performed confidence. Authentic chaseworthiness feels natural and sustainable, while game playing feels forced and eventually reveals itself as manipulation. What this means for your dating life. If you recognize these signs in your interactions with women, you need to completely shift your approach to dating. Stop thinking about how to win women over and start thinking about which women are worthy of being won by you. Don't chase women who aren't already showing clear interest and investment. Your time and attention are valuable enough that you should focus on women who recognize that value and work to obtain it. Maintain the standards and self-sufficiency that make you chaseworthy in the first place. Don't abandon your goals, interests, or standards just because someone shows interest in you. The moment you compromise what makes you attractive, you stop being attractive. Use this knowledge to be more selective about the relationships you pursue. If you're genuinely the type of man women want to chase, you can afford to have high standards and wait for someone who truly appreciates what you offer. The most important thing to understand about being chaseworthy is that it's not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about genuinely knowing your worth and requiring others to recognize it as well. Continue being the kind of man who inspires pursuit by living a life worth being part of, maintaining standards worth meeting, and offering attention that's worth working for. The right woman will recognize your value and be willing to invest in earning your interest. Remember, you're not trying to make women chase you. You're being the kind of man that women naturally want to chase. There's a crucial difference between the two, and understanding that difference is what separates genuine attractiveness from manipulative games. Your chaseworthy qualities aren't accidents or lucky breaks. They're the result of your character, your standards, and your genuine self-worth. Embrace these qualities, continue developing them, and let them guide you toward relationships with women who appreciate what you bring to the table. The woman who's right for you won't just notice your value. She'll work to earn a place in your life because she recognizes that being chosen by you is worth the effort. And that's exactly the kind of dynamic that creates lasting, fulfilling relationships built on a mutual respect and genuine appreciation.